To congratulate the Federal Reserve. For starters, they've lowered the Fed rate from what it was, which was 1 to 1.25, and it's been lowered down to 0 to 0.25 or 0.25. So it's 0 to 0.25. That's a big difference. It's quite a bit, about a point. And in addition, very importantly, the Federal Reserve is going to be purchasing $500 billion of treasuries and $200 billion of mortgage-backed securities, and that number can increase. But they're going to start with that, and that's really good news. It's really great for our country. It's something that we're very happy. I have to say this. I'm very happy. And they did it in one step. They didn't do it in 4 steps over a long period of time. They did it in one step, and I think that people in the market should be very thrilled, and that brings us, we're the strongest country in the world by far, financially and every other way, and that brings us in line with what other countries are. They actually have negative rates, but look, we got it down.
Today for the Bitcoin price, breaking news. The Federal Reserve just cut the interest rates to near zero in a Sunday's emergency meeting. This is their most dramatic move ever. The interest rates are actually going back to the crisis times here from 2008, and they are eventually to go negative very, very soon. We will talk about all of that, about the impact on the economy, the financial markets, but even more important on Bitcoin, which just closed the week here below the 200-week moving average. And guys, even more important, no one is talking about that. What the Federal Reserve also did, kind of secretly, look at this, this is going under the radar. They actually also announced that the reserve requirement ratios for the retail banks out there are going to zero right now, meaning they have an infinite leverage to lend out money. And guys, this will have severe impact on the economy, stock markets, and most probably also for Bitcoin, at least in the very long run. Guys, we want to talk about all of that, so make sure you take a seat. Make sure you smash up the like button in that extremely important episode today. And that being said, welcome crypto friends and welcome back to MMCrypto. My name is Chris, and as always, today, we are extremely pumped to go straight into the content. And here over on our Twitter, at MMCrypto, by the way, we already got 10,000 followers, as you can see. We just posted that news broke that the Federal Reserve is cutting the interest rates to 0%. Actually, it is 0% to 0.25%, as you also heard Donald Trump saying that here in the previous video. And this is actually breaking news, because going here into the history, you can see here at Fred St. Louis that the interest rates were only one time at 0%. And this was after the crisis of 2008, where we had the mortgage-backed security crisis, the housing crisis, and of course also the kind of fraudulent banking system being on the verge of collapsing. And you all remember the Lehman Brothers collapsing. And yes, they went down to 0% to make the cost of capital much, much cheaper, even nearly for free. And right now, this move here, look at this, it has never been at 0%. This move is even more severe, because at once they are going from 1.25 to 1.5, this was the previous range, down to 0 to 0.25. This means that retail banks can get the money completely for free, and it probably also means that your money in the bank accounts is most probably either getting negative interest rates, or they will circumvent that by charging you fees for transacting money. First things first, this was very important, but guys, what is really flying under the radar, and we are going to the Bitcoin content here afterwards, what is really flying under the radar right now is this announcement, and kind of no one is talking about that announcement. Look at this, the reserve requirements, and as you can see, it was announced on Sunday, the 15th of March. It is completely new here. And look at this. The board of the Federal Reserve reduced the reserve requirement ratios to 0%, and this will be effective by March the 26th of 2020. This action eliminated reserve requirements for all depository institutions. This means that the retail banks out there, for example, let's make one calculation. If they have 100 billion in outstanding liabilities, and the deposit requirement is actually 5%, they have to have $5 billion as reserve in their bank. Right now, they need 0% reserves for infinite amounts of liabilities. And of course, in combination with a 0% interest rates of the Federal Reserves, this gives a massive leverage for the outstanding monetary base out there. And of course, they want to prop up the economy with that. They want to provide small businesses with cheap loans to get over this very hard times of self-quarantine, of slowing down travel and so on. And of course, this is understandable. It is actually inevitable, and it is a necessary move for the Federal Reserve, for the United States to get the economy going again. However, guys, this is so unhealthy in the long run because we are propping up the monetary base with that and putting all of that together. Right now, it seems like that we can get into a deflation. We talked about that with DaVinci J15 in this video here, as you remember. DaVinci J15 also said that. He actually predicted the financial crisis to start within March to September. It started in March, and then he predicted we are going into a deflation, and then we are going into an inflation, which is combined with a currency crisis. And right now, guys, let's look back into time and talk about the Nikkei 225. This is the Tokyo stock market of Japan. And if you go back in time, and this only happened in Japan, you can see that here approximately in the 90s, Japan was after a huge bull market, which started after the Second World War. They had one of the biggest growth periods ever in the history of mankind. But in the end, just as the Western world right now, but in the end, you can see it here from the 90s, the stock market was going into a massive deflationary spiral here, going up until today. You can see it right now. They actually had no growth in the stock markets ever since this deflationary spiral began. And going even further, you check out the GDP per capita in Japan. This was also stagnating. So this is per capita. This is the most important metric. And per person in Japan, ever since the last 30 years, the person had on average not more money, but this is the power of deflation. If we go to the GDP per capita, which is purchasing power parity adjusted, you can see that their GDP per capita even rose. So they were still able to buy more. And the reason for that being is because of this long deflation. And this might be a mirror into our immediate future. The prices actually started to deflate. Travel expenses, housing expenses, energy expenses, everything. And this might happen also for the Western world. However, we talked about with DaVinci that this deflation in the Western world might not take place for a long time. Remember, everything is interconnected. And not only the Federal Reserve will start printing money AF, also the retail banks will start lending it out more and more, and that requires even more reserve money from the Federal Reserves. So in the end, we will see the monetary base, the quantitative easing, inflate exponentially. And we actually think that this might lead from a deflation into an inflation much faster than expected. And if we have an inflation, people will start doubting also the fiat currencies. And what we actually said a while back here on our MMCrypto channel is sometimes we didn't phrase it perfectly before. When we are talking about Bitcoin being hedged against the monetary system, it is not necessarily a hedge against the stock markets. It is a hedge against the monetary system, against the flawed central banking system and the flawed monetary system. So whenever the doubts in the fiat currency system start, this might be the moment Bitcoin might gain even more momentum as a currency and also as a store of value. This remains to see. However, going into the immediate short term right now for Bitcoin, we had the weekly close yesterday here, and unfortunately, look at this, it was below the 200-week moving average, which is not bullish at all. You hear that from my mouth. This is actually not bullish at all. However, guys, we talked about it with DaVinci J15 once again here in this video. And what also DaVinci J15 said in this video is that this week, which just started with today's Monday, this one is decisive. This week has to close above. This week has to close above the 200-week moving average for the bullish scenario to come into place. And now, first of all, we want to know from you guys, do you think that we can close this week here by the end of Sunday above $5,500 US, which is the price of the 200-week moving average? Do you think we can close the end of the week above $5,500 US above the 200-week moving average? Let us know in the poll, which is popping up on top of the screen right now. Click yes or no. And guys, we can tell you crazy times are about to come. And if you want to make a service for all your friends, don't only share the news of the interest rates dropping. Share this video, because this news here, guys, this is what will make the things go crazy. The reserve requirements at 0%. Please share this video out with the world, guys. I don't know if someone will talk about that, so make sure you smash up the like button on that video. And very important, guys, we were mentioned on Forbes here. They were talking about Facebook, about Telegram, how they are handling the communities, and go there, down there, somewhere here. They are also talking about MMCrypto. I will leave the link in the pinned comment down below. Make sure you check it out. And if you want to join our community, if you want to join our family, go down to the pinned comment, and in the very top of the pinned comment, you find the link of our secret Telegram group. DaVinciJ15 is also in there. Click that link here and you will join our 12,000 people family right now, completely for free, forever for free. So join it. We are talking about the financial crisis, about the monetary system, about the Bitcoin price there on a daily, on a weekly, on an hourly basis. So that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other very soon at the next one of MMCrypto. And as always, guys, as always, bye bye.